Hello, everybody. Welcome to GM Sports Report, your weekly podcast on all things sports where every play counts. I'm Grant, and I'm here with my co host Mason as we get ready to cover the latest news, headlines, and upcoming events going on in the sports world. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see all things GM Sports Report. Mason, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, Grant. How are you?
I'm doing good. We got a lot to get into, so we'll go ahead and do just that. And we'll start with our hot take of the week. And Mason, I'll let you go ahead and take it away.
All right, so as the news broke yesterday, Shador Sanders is replacing Drake May in the Pro Bowl. Um, and just the main stat I want to say is that Shador had 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. And my biggest, I kind of have a question more than a hot take. Has the Pro Bowl lost its validity? Year after year, selections somehow seem to get worse. And I feel like being a Pro Bowler does not hold as much weight as it used to. So, what's your quick takeaway on that?
I mean, I think once you changed it to flag football, it's kind of a joke at that point. Like, we actually went to one of the last, like,
It was the
actual
last
football.
big,
It was
yeah.
the last one, yeah, back in 2020, I believe it was. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and even then, like it was real football, but it was like there was like they were obviously just like
Mm-hmm.
playing half speed and stuff. But I prefer that over like what they're doing now. And like you said, the as far as the players they're picking right now, it's just a
Okay,
joke.
yeah.
Like it's laughable that Shador Sanders is like in this, like he should not be. Like I could probably think, like I think you were saying this yesterday too. I could think of probably 20 quarterbacks that are more deserving of making it to the Pro Bowl than Shador Sanders. When you finish the season with more interceptions than touchdowns, I think it's just a joke at this point. And I mean, it's just, I don't know what they should do, but yeah, it is becoming a joke.
Yeah, I mean the last thing I kind of want to touch on is I'm not, straight bias hatred of these kind of decisions just because it's Shador. A few years ago, Tyler Huntley made the Pro Bowl after Lamar got hurt and he played decent. Probably how Malik Willis did at the end of the year this year. And that's like putting Malik Willis in the Pro Bowl this year and Tyler Huntley made the Pro Bowl. So it's kind of like that was a very odd decision as well. So I'm not. I just don't agree with the selections in general. And of course, they use Shador as marketing and for views and stuff like that because viewership went down. So they saw once he started in the games, they got viewership. So that's kind of what they're trying to do for their Pro Bowl. So they care more about, I guess, the views than they do actually about the quality of what they're producing.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you there. And honestly, the whole all-star games throughout American sports is kind of going downhill. The only one that is truly good every year is the MLB, and that's because it's not a
Hmm.
contact sport, so it's not like they have to worry that much about injuries, so they can still go full speed. I'm hoping with the
Hmm.
NBA, the new NBA format, it'll kind of revamp it a
Yeah.
little bit, but throughout sports in general, it's just sort of going downhill. Hockey's actually pretty good too with that new thing they did last season with kind of what the NBA is doing, where it's like
Like,
international
yeah.
versus USA kind of thing. So we'll see what happens with all of that. But yeah, the Pro Bowl is definitely going downhill and needs a change. But yeah, I like that hot take a lot. And for my hot take of the week, I'm going in and taking a page out of your book. I know you've been heavy on this, and I am going to start being heavy on this too because it's getting ridiculous with the way some of these fans are running their mouth. And that's about the New England Patriots. That whole argument of we've beaten how many top five defenses now? Like, oh, that's like we're just facing the toughest defenses and winning these games. Like, and we still don't get credit. That whole argument has no weight, in my opinion. Like it has no weight when you look at the other side of the ball who you're going up against. And let's just face it, in the regular season, they had the number one easiest strength of schedule. And now in the playoffs, they've had by far the easiest run to the Super Bowl. So I just don't think that argument holds any weight. When you look at their playoff run, they faced Justin Herbert, who has yet to win a playoff game. They faced CJ Stroud, who threw 4 interceptions, and we all know what's going on with him. And they now faced last week the backup quarterback, Jared Stidham, who looked like he was seeing ghosts out there for a lot of that game. So, I just don't think that this whole argument of them being in top 5 defenses and what like them making it to the Super Bowl is like because they had to, tough it out and like it got handed to you and just admit it. Like I'd be way
Mhm.
less upset about this whole thing if the fans were just admitting like, yeah, we kind of had an
Yeah,
easy
but it's
run, but
Boston.
yeah, I know, but yeah, that's kind of my hot take. That whole top 5, because that's all
Mhm.
I'm seeing right now. Oh, we beat in top 5 defenses so many times now. It's like, okay, yeah, well, it's easy to beat a top 5 defense when you're not going against Bo Nix. Like, you know what I mean? So that's my hot take of the
Mhm.
week.
Yeah, I mean, the only touchdown that the Patriots scored that weekend or that game was off of a Stidham fumble, and they were still complaining that, oh, they blew it dead early, and we would have scored off that. You still scored on the drive anyway. Y'all just find stuff to complain about. So that's enough of, I guess, my Boston hate or New England hate for today. So.
I'm sure we'll get into that more next week when we actually go into a pretty in-depth Super
Oh
Bowl
yeah.
prediction. But
Oh yeah.
all right, now we'll go ahead and slide over to our underdogs of the week. Mason, I'll let you go ahead and start with yours.
Yeah, I mean, they're I hate to literally just flip the script, just because I could not think of a single underdog, but it was a big play that happened, and that is the Patriots D tackle Leonard Taylor, tipping Lutz's tying field goal. That was pretty big for them. So, just a minor shout out to him.
Yeah, I like that a lot. For my underdog of the week, this guy isn't really necessarily an underdog anymore, but based on how his career started to where it is now, I'm going with
Mhm.
Sam Darnold.
Mhm.
He led his team to a Super Bowl, and this last week he played a fantastic game, 25-36, 346 yards and 3 touchdowns. Just a absolute great game. When I had questions about him coming into this game, I was like, I like the Seahawks as a team, but I don't know if I can fully trust Sam Darnold. And after this last week, I fully trust him to, go on and, potentially win a Super Bowl. And, for what he's had to battle through his career, I think is, really notable and acknowledgeable. And I think that for all he's battled, it's like I'm happy for him, and I want to see him win a Super
Mhm.
Bowl, not just because he's going against the Patriots, but because he's like the type of player that deserves it. So Sam Darnold is my underdog of the week.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll stick with the NFL, and now we're gonna go ahead and kind of go into our takeaways from the championship games, because there's a lot of action going on. Well, really a lot of action in one game. The other game was kind of boring, but
Mhm.
Mason, I'll let you go ahead and start with your takeaways.
Yeah, I mean, I think Drake May had like 86 yards in that Patriots Broncos game, and the Broncos defense. I was telling my dad like they gave them so many opportunities to where they can go win the game, and I put partially of the blame, most of the blame on Sean Payton for not taking the points when you can get them, because especially with how the weather ended up being, you couldn't make a field goal regardless. So you're within like you're in the red zone. Their defense has been absolutely stuffing you over there. Just take the points. It's good weather at the time, and just yeah. So Patriots got away with another one, and Broncos, I really believe if Bo Nix was playing, they would have won. Just off of that turnover alone, Bo Nix doesn't make that decision, and Patriots lose the game. And into the actual playoff game that we watched, the Rams versus Seattle. Matt Stafford balled out 374 yards, 3 touchdowns. And in the matchups against Seattle prior or in the regular season, Stafford had 5 touchdowns and no turnovers, and obviously they came up short. And then on the contrary, Sam Darnold, like you mentioned, had a great game, but in the past against the Rams, he had 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions throughout the regular season. So he really turned it around. It was the exact opposite of what we saw on the Vikings last year, where he balled out regular season, came into the playoffs, choked it away, Jet style, and just completely flipped the switch this year. I think that Seattle team is probably the best thing that could have happened to him in his career, and it's very fun to watch. And then Puka Nakua and JSN had monster games again. Puka Nakua had 165 yards and a touchdown, and JSN had 153 yards and a touchdown. And I kind of want to address something that I thought was very funny. I think it was Tariq Woolen that did it. He had a big pass breakup, and it was like 4th and 12, and he got flagged for taunting by going to the Rams bench, giving them
Mhm.
a first down, and the very next play, Matt Stafford throws a touchdown to Puka Nakua. And I think that was like, that's going to be one of those instant karma things that you see on YouTube for like the next decade. So I thought that was really funny. Huge shout out to that Seahawks organization. I'm very excited to see, what they do against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Hopefully they get that karma for the last time that happened. What happened?
Yeah, and then also, do you think that that flag was warranted? Because I personally feel like that was a weak flag, especially since Puka was talking like the whole game. I don't know. That's just me personally.
If he didn't go to the bench, he was the only one over there. That's why I
Yeah,
agree with the flag. He went over to the bench and there's like no one around him, and he was talking for quite a long time. So I mean, at that point, you just don't talk, and
yeah,
especially
that's
in that
fair.
situation. So I think I think it's a gut check, and it should have been called. So yeah, it happens.
All right. So yeah, I like going into the more conversational route. Some of these topics you were kind of already talking about, but maybe we can get more into depth. Started out.
Hmm.
Would the Broncos have won if Bo Nix was playing? I know you just said that, but
Absolutely.
what are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
I mean,
Yeah.
prior to the weather, because the game, you could tell the game totally switched once that happened, and it
Oh
was
yeah.
just like whoever was up by then was pretty much going to end up winning. And Stidham was playing decent, but that turnover just
Hmm.
absolutely killed it. And the Broncos defense in the snow gave them the so many opportunities that you can only dream of, and they just could not get it going. And the Patriots at the end of the game were literally just running the ball. They trusted their defense that much. So, I mean, yeah, I think Bo Nix wins this game.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, we saw time and time again throughout the season Bo Nix making comebacks in late stages
Hmm.
of games. And I believe he would have done just that in this game. But I don't even think they would have been down because, like you said, with that Stidham turnover, I
Yeah,
don't think Bo Nix
yeah.
makes that mistake. So, um, yeah, I think it's easy to say, like, put up these hypotheticals and just say, like, oh, yeah,
Right.
obviously. But because there is a lot of factors like the weather, like you were saying, so and other things like that. But I really do believe that if Bo Nix was playing, that the Broncos would have not only won this game, but kind of win it easily, dare I say? Because the
Hmm.
Broncos defense came to play this last week.
Yes, they
They
did.
looked fantastic. So I think that with a little bit, we said it last week with Stidham. If he just played football without turning the ball over and kind of was a game manager a little bit, they would have had a real chance. And he turned the ball over. They ended up losing the game essentially because of that. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand with that situation. My second
Hmm.
talking point, does Drake May have what it takes to win a Super Bowl this season?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think they should have won that game. Broncos were the better team, but you can't do the whole better team thing because we've seen time and time again in the Super Bowls and the biggest stages of this league where the better team just does not win. So, then again, going completely opposite of my statement, I think the Seahawks are the better team. So, if they just play clean football, if Sam Darnold plays how he's been playing in this postseason, and as well as that defense, I think that they should be able to win this game. But this kind of feels like a Miami thing to me right now, where I've been doubting University of Miami all the way through the playoffs, and then it comes time for them to play Indiana. Seahawks are the Indiana right now, and it gets a little nerve wracking. It's like, oh man, can they actually do it? So I really think that the Seahawks will win, but I I'd be upset if the Patriots and Drake May get away with it.
Yeah. As far as the question, I think that eventually Drake May definitely has what it takes to win a Super Bowl. But for this
Oh
season, when we're
yeah,
looking at
yeah.
who they're going up against, and we're looking at who they went up against in the past, it's just hard for me to say that he has what it takes. I mean, if we look at this playoff run, he has not played good. Like he really hasn't.
No.
And he's coming off this week against the Broncos defense, who is like fantastic, but he only had 86 yards And I get that a lot of that was the weather and them chewing clock and running the football a lot, but he just has looked so mediocre in these playoffs that I don't know. I think I I don't want to jinx anything, but it really feels
I
like the
know, I
Seahawks
know.
should not have a hard time putting away this Patriots team. But we will see, like you said, Super Bowl crazy things happen. So, yeah, I kind of agree with you there. And then my third and final talking point. This is more interesting one. Who are you taking if you had to pick a franchise player right now between these two players? Who are you taking, Puka Nakua or Jackson Smith and Jigba?
Oh, I thought you were gonna go a completely different way. Um, I thought you were gonna do a rage bait thing like Hurts or Drake May.
Oh,
I think, geez, I've been so high on Puka Nakua as soon like once he started balling out in the league. Oh man, I don't know. I think I might stay with Puka. Just the contested catches that he's made. I haven't seen many other players in the league do what he's been doing like that, and he's just been so consistent. And don't get me wrong, Jackson Smith and Jigba has been absolutely here, but I've just seen it more consistently over the past 2 seasons with Puka and some of those insane catches. So I think I'd pick Puka.
all right, just to be different from you, so I don't like agree with you. I think one, you can't go wrong either way. Both these players are just
Right, right.
fantastic. But I'll go JSN just for the fun of it. He's probably going to win Offensive Player of the Year. Just looks
Yeah.
fantastic. Has really been the heart and soul of this Seahawks offense, but so is Puka for the Rams, to be fair. So it's really like they're both just fantastic players. But I'll just say JSN to kind of make it. I would have gone either other way, probably, depending on who you would have said.
Okay. Okay.
But
Of
I kind of
course.
do thinking about this, like if you were to flip roles, like put JSN on the Rams with Matthew Stafford and put Puka on the Seahawks with Sam Darnold. Do you think that it's more like? Do you think that these receivers are? I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to get.
No, no,
Like who
no.
do
I
you think
get
is
what you're saying.
right?
So I have noticed something throughout the years. Matthew Stafford is a receiver friendly quarterback. You can look at all the numbers. There's always been someone in the running or leading the league in yards and touchdowns and all that with Matthew Stafford at quarterback. Um, I think that there's just no wrong with him. And if you're a good enough player, he's going to make you a great player. Kind of with what
Hmm.
we saw with Brady and that talent that he pretty much made. Because Edelman, he was not great. Amendola, those guys, and then Brady did what he did with them. So Matt Stafford, I think he has that developmental kind of leadership and as a player. And I think that if you put Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think he just does that much better. And I think that he could be way better than Puka at points. But um, like if you put Puka on Seattle, I don't know if Sam Darnold would be able to do what he did with Jackson Smith and Jigba. So I think that they are literally both in the perfect situations for where they are player wise. So yeah, it's great to see players like that just you know blossoming to what they can be. To answer your
Yeah, I
question, I
agree.
guess
I
if
agree
if I got that
100%.
right.
No, you
Okay.
got it
Okay.
100% right. You were saying exactly what I was trying to say. I just didn't know how to
Hmm.
like word the question, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
exactly what I was going at. Yeah, I agree 100%. I think you nailed it on the head there. All right. Now we'll go ahead and give our early Super Bowl predictions. We're going to go into more detail next week,
yeah.
obviously. But just really quick, what
I
is
don't
your
even
Super Bowl
want to.
prediction?
I'm like I like Seahawks, but I'm scared.
Yeah,
History
score
repeats
in your
itself,
mind, or
man.
you
No,
just
I don't. I don't have a score. I just want the Seahawks to win. If I get too into depth, I think the Jinx will work its magic that much worse, and it'll because all I can think about in this matchup was Malcolm Butler interception at the 1 yard line.
yeah,
So not
that's fair
not
enough.
going deep into it. Not happening.
To be short, I'm picking the Seahawks as well. Something drastic is going to have to change over the next week for me to change my prediction.
What can
Um,
happen?
so yeah, I'm going Seahawks as well. But like I said, we'll get into the details of that more next week.
Yeah.
All right. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and slide over to the NBA. We're going to give our player and team of the week real quick. Mason, who is your player of the week?
So when I first saw the players of the week, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going Emmanuel quickly. You know, he had 25. The former Nick, he had 25 points per game, 7 rebounds. I think it was like 60% from the field or something like that. And then I look on the Western side of it, it's like, man, Luca had a week. You know, 34.3 points every game, 10.7 rebounds per game, and then 9.7 assists per game. So he almost had a triple double. You know, averaging this week. So you got to mention him as well. I'm sure you're going to mention at least Luca. So, yeah, those are my players of the week.
Yeah, I mean, I had both of them written down. Just was gonna pick the other one that you
Yeah,
didn't pick
yeah, yeah.
because they're both are like the two that deserve to be talked about quickly. Like you said, 25, like 7-7, and shooting from a high clip, and he had that 40-point game earlier in the week. Also led the Raptors to a 4-0 week, so
Yep.
that deserves to be shout out. But then, like you said, you look at the Western Conference side, you see those numbers Luka's putting up, and it's just ridiculous. Um, he's been just on another level this season. I think last night he had I think it was his third or fourth 45-point and 10 assist game this season. It's crazy
Yeah,
how
LeBron balled too. Yeah.
yeah, LeBron's been looking starting to heat up a little bit too, but yeah, those are the two players that I think are worth shouting out for this week. So those
Yep.
are my players of the week. I agree with you. Now we'll go into team of the week. Who's your team of the week?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of mentioned them. Raptors found their way into third seed in the East, so they are 6-4 in the last 10, and one. You know, they're on a 4-game win streak. So I think that they're going to be my team of the week, kind of making their way up in the rankings.
All right. For my team of the week, this team is not a contender or anything like that. I just think this is a team that has young pieces that deserve to start being shouted out because I really think they're building something nice there. And that is the Charlotte Hornets, who are 6-4 in their last 10, but they are now
Yeah.
on a 3-game win streak. And in those two of those three wins, they blew out the Magic and the 76ers. And they're just really starting to look good with those young pieces. Brandon Miller is really starting to take over. He's honestly starting to become the number one option over LaMelo, but obviously you have LaMelo Ball too, who's another great young player. Miles Bridges has really been having a good year. And then you got Con Kneppel, the rookie, who has been absolutely outstanding. So a really interesting young core that this Charlotte team has, and they've shown that they can win some good games. Like they beat the Thunder, not just beat the Thunder earlier in the season, but they blew the Thunder out. So they've had some impressive wins under their belt now. And I've seen kind of a meme going around the NBA where it's like, you know, I get nervous when I have to face the 2025-26 Charlotte Hornets because we're either going to blow them out by 20 or they're going to blow us out by 20. And that's really been the case of their season. But yeah, I think they're really starting to step towards the right direction. And I just felt like shouting out Charlotte out because it's different. Why not?
Yep. Yep.
All right. And believe it or not, the trade deadline is 9 days away. A lot of names have been in rumors. We know that could mean something, could mean nothing. But I'm kind of just going to go over the biggest names that are in headlines right now for the trade deadline. And I just want to know if you think they'll get traded or not. I'll go one by one. You don't have to give a team, but just do
Okay.
you think they'll
Good.
be traded or not? If you're confident that they'll make it to a team, though, by all means,
No.
throw out the team name. But we'll go ahead and start with the big fish, Giannis. Do you think that Giannis is going to be traded this deadline?
Yeah, I think you will. And I think it'll be exciting because I really wanted to see Giannis go somewhere else. So it just really depends on where. I think that's my biggest concern.
I want Giannis to get traded so bad this deadline, but I am just having such a hard time believing that they're going to make this trade. I feel like they've been like stepping on eggshells all season with this Giannis stuff, and I feel like
Hmm.
partially that's partly Giannis's fault too because he hasn't just come out and said, "Hey, I want to trade." If he would have just came out and say, "Hey, I want to trade," there probably would have been a trade done by now. But I don't know. I 9 days away. That's a big name. That's your franchise guy for the last however many years, and he's hurt right now. He's expected to be out for at least 2 weeks after the trade deadline, so that might affect how some teams look at trading for him. His price is going to be discounted now because of that, and I don't know if the Bucks are going to want to discount him. I think they might wait till the offseason and get full price for him. But I will say this: I do have a crazy prediction. I think that if he is traded at this deadline, I think that he is the Heat's to lose. I think that the Heat have the best package to offer at the deadline. But I think if this goes to the offseason and it's an offseason move, I think it's 100% going to be Giannis to the Knicks. So it will be interesting to see if he's traded at the
Giannis won't
deadline.
get traded. He won't get traded this deadline.
Oh, you changed your mind?
Yeah.
All right. Next player I want to get into is Ja Morant. Do you think Ja Morant will be traded?
I think I mean, most of my information come from what you say. I mean, I'm not too big into like the media and stuff. My media, I think allocations come mainly from the NFL side of things. So from what I've heard from you, yeah, I think Ja will get traded. Probably because you were talking he might go to the Heat. So I don't know.
I
Everyone
think
gets to the Heat according to you.
no, I don't think I think Jaw's gonna get traded. The Heat aren't interested in trading for him though if they have to give pieces up for Giannis. Like they have their Giannis
Mhm.
package ready to go, and they're not willing to give up any of those pieces for anyone else other than Giannis. So if they could get John Morant for like Terry Rozier's expiring contract and Simone Fontecchio, just because the Grizzlies want to get off of him and get some expired money, I can see a world where that happens. But I do think Ja will get traded. I just don't know if that Heat buzz is as strong as people say it
Mhm.
is, the media, because the media is just making it out like it's like a guarantee he's going to end up on the Heat. And I don't see that because I think the Heat's top priority right now is Giannis. And honestly, as a Heat fan, I'm perfectly okay with that. I'd rather have a chance at getting Giannis than trading some of our assets away and getting Ja Morant and then finding out later that we could have had Giannis if we didn't trade this guy and this guy. So I'm perfectly okay with that. But I do think Ja ends up on a new team. I think the Grizzlies are ready to move on. I think Ja's ready to move on. Um, and we'll see what happens with that. Next player we have is a player that seems to be in trade deadline conversations every single season, and that is Zach LaVine. Do you think Zach LaVine gets traded from the Kings?
I don't think so. Again, I haven't heard too much, so I don't think so.
I don't think so either. The only team that I could see him get traded to is like the Bucks if they're making like a last ditch Hail Mary to try to please Giannis. Like, hey, we'll go get you Zach LaVine, buddy, who I think that will last a full half a season. Then Giannis will request a trade in the offseason because if Zach LaVine hasn't been that guy on a team yet, I don't think he ever will be at this stage in his career. So I don't see him getting traded unless, like I said, it's like a Hail Mary effort for the Bucks to try to, please Giannis a little bit. Next player we have is an interesting one. Michael Porter Jr. has been having a career year, but he's on the Brooklyn Nets.
Mhm.
But I could see a lot of contending teams being interested in trading for him. Do you think he will be traded?
I think if the right price or the right package is, offered, I could see him going somewhere like you mentioned that could be a contending team, but right now I just don't know because the Nets love to kind of hold on to what they have. It feels like, especially right now, they're like, oh, we have all these picks and stuff, even though they don't pick great players. I think that they'll kind of hold on to them, kind of see how it goes out, and then yeah. But like I said, if the price is right, he'll go. But if not, I think he stays.
I like you said, I think that if they're able to get a few first round picks out of him and like maybe like a
Right.
young player, I think he'll get traded. But if they're not getting the package they want, they don't feel the need to move him. But if there is one team that I think needs to go out there and trade for him, and I think that's the Golden State Warriors with Jimmy Butler being
Hmm.
out for the season now. I think Michael Porter Jr., with the way he's been playing this year, can really step in and fill in that role while Jimmy's absent from the team. I think that that's a target that Golden State should be taken seriously right now. But we'll see if they're willing to give the package that Brooklyn's probably searching for, which in my mind, with how Michael Porter's been this year, would probably start with at least 2 first round picks. That's probably where the starting conversation would be. Um, Next player we have is another player that pops up and never seems to get traded, and that is Lauri Markkanen from the Utah Jazz. Do you think Lauri Markkanen will be getting moved?
I don't think so. Unless they just want to get rid of him, which I don't see why they would. He's kind of like their best player or one of them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't see him making too huge of an impact like that going to, say like a team that would be in contention for something. I think it'd be too much of a hassle to kind of do it right now. If anything in the off season, but right now, no.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. Lauri Markkanen also just kind of strikes me as one of those players where it's like he plays great on like a bad team, but I
Oh
feel like he's one of
yeah,
those
yeah,
players
yeah.
the second you trade him to a good team and the pressure's on a little bit, he might underperform a little bit.
Hmm.
I feel like we see that time and time again with some of these guys that are getting traded from bad teams to contending teams. It's something we could potentially see with Michael Porter Jr. if that happens. But yeah, I don't think he's getting traded. And finally, we have Jonathan Kuminga from the Golden State Warriors. Do you think he's gone?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I guess I'll kind of leave it to you. I haven't heard anything about that. I just know that the Warriors kind of need to make a move if they kind of want to save their season. I think. I think they're playing well, but I just don't think that they have. Jimmy Butler missing. I think would really kind of cause them to make a move, and he could, I think, be a part of it.
Yeah. Kuminga is a very promising young player. He just has not had his chance on Golden State. I don't get what it is, but they do not like playing him. They don't like giving him an opportunity. And I feel like, I mean, obviously before the Jimmy injury happened, Kuminga demanded a trade. He actually came out and said that he wanted to get traded. But obviously with the Jimmy injury happened, that opened things up for him. He did tweak his ankle though in his first game without Jimmy, and now is back to being sidelined for right now. But I think I see a world where it just makes sense. Hey, Jonathan Kuminga and a first round pick for Michael Porter Jr. Do you say yes or do you say no, Brooklyn? And Jonathan
Mhm.
Kuminga gets to go over to that Brooklyn team and gets to actually play and show that he's a promising young player that has a lot of upside, and he can we can see if he can finally reach his full potential that he had coming into the league or not. And then Golden State gets a proven veteran and Michael Porter Jr. I think that would make the most sense for Kuminga's future, personally.
Right.
All right, we'll see what happens over the next week. I really feel like a lot of these trades are going to depend on if Giannis gets traded or not. I feel like almost every team's probably holding off on everything until that Giannis situation gets figured out. But we'll see what
Hmm.
happens. All right, finally, we're going to go ahead and get into some UFC because there was a pretty good fight this last week between Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje. Real quick, we can just go over our thoughts on the fight. What were you thinking?
I thought it was cool at first, and then I kind of started to get frustrated when Patty like seemed to throw away his biggest advantage, like on the ground game. Um, he just stood up the entirety of the match, and he got punished for it. Because Patty is known for being a good wrestler, a good grappler, and Gaethje is known for stand and bang. That's his thing. He's known to throw just the wildest, craziest throws, and he gets punished for it as well. Don't get me wrong, but Patty, I don't think is the guy to you know, punish him on like a counter, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
someone I know that will in a future fight. He stood his ground, and I'll give him so much credit for that. Scousers do not get knocked out.
Yeah.
Um, you know, but I just like I mentioned, I don't think that there was a way that he could have won. It would have been a crazy shot uh, to knock Gaethje out, but he just did not wrestle. He didn't go to the ground at all, and that's ultimately what lost him the match.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on everything you said. Like, Patty's advantage would have been with wrestling. Like, Patty's
Hmm.
improved a ton as a striker, but he just still doesn't have that knockout power yet. Whether you like want to admit it or
No.
not, he just doesn't yet. He has he can land. We saw him landing against Gaethje. He was landing a good amount of shots, but you got to mix in some of your strengths with that, which is his grappling ability, his wrestling ability, and he just was completely not going for anything there. And I don't understand why, especially when his face is like busted open because of how much he's getting beat up. But
He's getting dribbled off the
um,
mat.
yeah, I mean, but props to Patty for toughing it out and not getting knocked out. I mean, that dude is he's a beast. I'm not gonna lie, but I think that he needs to go into more of his strengths next time he has a fight like that. But a very fun fight. One of my favorite fights I've watched in a long time as far as the UFC.
Mhm.
So I was happy with it. And it's cool to see Gaethje win the interim title. But I know you and me both think that if he fights Ilya, that's not going to end too well for him.
I don't know if it would have ended well for either of them, but
No, probably not.
yeah. I mean, I've loved how dominant Ilya's been. It's literally just been like comes in, deals with work, gets out. That's sick. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree. All right. And then this upcoming weekend, we have Volkanovski versus Lopez 2. I know Diego Lopez has kind of become one of your favorite fighters, but Volk is also one of your favorite fighters. We were talking about this last time when
Mhm.
the first fight happened. But who do you think is going to win this rematch?
I think again it's a toss up because I believe Volk won by decision last time, didn't he? I know he
Hmm.
won, but yeah. So it was a close fight last time too, but Volk just had the experience. He kind of knew that he had to really make a big comeback after what happened to him after. But I think that they are very similar fighters to an extent as far as their strengths. They are both strikers. So, uh, like I mentioned, Volk's experience, but I think Lopez kind of knows what to look for now, and I think that he could potentially win. I'm not going knockout in any instance. I think that it's going to go the distance again. That's just kind of how these fighters are, and I think I could see Lopez winning. Again, I think it's just a toss up. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
It is a toss up. Both these fighters are so close in talent. Volk is more
Hmm.
experienced, obviously, but Lopez now fought Volkanovski once. Is probably going to be making some changes throughout camp to be able to beat him. And I feel like in rematches, when fighters are so close talent wise, it usually gets split one and
It
one.
goes the other
So I
way.
think
Yep.
I think I'm going to go with Lopez here. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if Volkanovski, lands like a big punch and
Yeah.
ends up winning this fight. But um, I think it'll be split one and one, and there probably will be a trilogy at some point down the road. But that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Volk getting a trilogy this far in his career is
I know,
insane.
I know. But can't you see that happening? I can. I
I
think
can't.
it'll
No,
happen.
it's like the new era versus the old era, and I
Yeah, it
freaking
really
love it because
is.
I love both
Yeah,
these guys.
yeah.
So
Two
yeah.
two of the most beloved fighters in the UFC right now, I'd say.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty much going to wrap up this episode. So thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of GM Sports Report, where every play counts. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to be able to see our weekly episodes on all things sports. For additional content, check the description to see links to our Instagram and TikTok account. This is Grant and Mason. Sign off for now. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you guys.